Taking on the hot stories trending today, and I want to start with this new study with results that shocked even a room of hardened journalists. We talked about this. When teens usually have a bad rep for this kind of thing, it actually turns out adults are the worst offenders when it comes to sending text messages from behind the wheel. The irony here is that these findings come from AT&T, the same company behind the warning ads targeting teens. Take a look. So, texting and driving, adults versus teens. Let's talk about it with our panel. Whitney Jefferson, celebrity editor at BuzzFeed. Jackie Reed, radio and TV personality. IronE Singleton, actor on The Walking Dead and author of Blindsided by The Walking Dead. And John Murray, editor-in-chief at alwaysalist.com. So welcome, everyone. You know, they say getting older makes you wiser, but apparently not. Let me hear from you, Whitney, first. Take a look at these statistics. You have 50% of adults admitted to texting and driving compared with 43% of teens. And, you know, listen, you talk to teens. I saw a couple of my cousins recently. They're buried in their iPhones, right? So why do you think teens, though, are apparently getting the memo? You know, look, it's okay to text, just don't text and drive, but we adults are not? Whitney, why?
Well, I think teens are having it kind of crammed down their throats in ad campaigns like from AT&T and other different services. But I don't know what it is about adults that think that it doesn't apply to them. If you have teenage drivers and you're telling them that you can't do this, you need to practice what you preach.
John Murray, what do you think?
Listen, I don't text and drive, Brooke. I took the pledge when Oprah Winfrey was back on television. You know, anything Oprah asked me to do, I do it. But I'm also one of those drivers that when I see other people driving and they're texting, I'll pull up next to them and turn and yell, "Hey, you wackadoo, you're gonna kill somebody, get off your phone." I mean, I like to make people uncomfortable because I'd rather make you uncomfortable in that space than to have you be uncomfortable when you kill somebody and have to face their family.
Can I just say, I was driving down an Atlanta freeway the other day and I saw a guy playing and singing, playing a saxophone, singing, and driving on I-75. I digress. Let me talk about...
Hey, Brooke, there's a guy in Miami who's a taxi driver who plays the guitar and does that.
What are they thinking? That's for a whole other day. That's a different hot topic to plan on, playing instruments and driving. Let me get you more of the survey. 98% of the adults who said, yes, we text and drive, they admit they know it's wrong, but they do it anyway. And so it just kind of got me thinking, is this what smoking was to the last generation, IronE? I mean, is this something that, you know, Jackie, do you realize this is wrong, but you just ignore it? You do it anyway?
You know, I wish I could be more like John. I am guilty. I mean, I definitely text a little bit when I drive. I'm not as bad as I used to be because I got ticketed. I live here in New York, and we were one of the first states to outlaw, you know, driving with your phone in your hand. But listen, it's no excuse, but a lot of adults are probably like me. You're probably texting not just your friends, but work things. And if you have kids, which I don't, we're juggling so much.
Twitter,
and
Facebook,
that extra
emails.
time in the car. It's so, you don't have a lot of time as is. I don't know how I'm going to get through the rest of this day, and my phone is right here. I'm constantly on it. But I'm glad that there's so much focus on this, and I wish that a lot of that messaging would be geared more towards adults, because when I read the story and preparing for this today, and it said the time it takes you to look quickly at a text and maybe respond is the same time it would take you to drive the length of a football field at 55 miles per hour.
Yes.
That's a long time.
I'll never forget
to have your eyes off the road.
I had a mother on I had a mother on the show, and she had lost her teenage daughter to drunk driving, and she said, Brooke, just imagine for the time that you look down at your phone, think about just driving with your eyes closed. I mean, that's 4.5, 5, 6, 7 seconds, and it just resonated. But the question then is, still, despite all these bans in all these states, people are still doing it. What's the solution? Is it a pledge you take within your family? Does car technology need to be revamped to where maybe, I don't know, you plug in your phone, you can't touch it, but you can do voice texting? I mean, what do we do?
It's possible. I think it's not worth it. I think you can wait. It can always wait. There's over 1,000 people that die in texting and driving related accidents every day. Is it really worth it? I don't think so.
And maybe we should change legislation. Maybe if the crime is more severe, specifically to this type, because it's increasing. There are more accidents. We see the statistics. Maybe if people are afraid of what the repercussions are, then they'll be least likely to do it.
Okay, let me leave
Well,
this
there
there.
should be technology, too.
Maybe all of the above, but we should not be doing it. I want to move on because next we're going to talk about a school district deciding to ban dodgeball and other games where kids are targets. Hear why some parents disagree with the ban. We're working on getting IronE up. Walking Dead fans, we're working on it. Hearing issues. We're back after this. Kids in a New Hampshire school district may never get to experience the schoolyard fun, or maybe for some of us, the agony of the 5 Ds of dodgeball. Here, if you will, a refresher course courtesy of the movie Dodgeball.
Just remember the 5 Ds of dodgeball. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Now, with all that good advice with the 5 Ds, now apparently useless to the kids in Windham, New Hampshire, because their school board has just banned dodgeball and other quote-unquote human target games from school. They say dodgeball promotes violence and it promotes bullying, but some of the parents say, what? This is ridiculous. And a couple are pretty angry about it. Listen.
It's dodgeball. Dodgeball's been around as long as I can remember. Personally, I think it's a blast. If you don't want to play it, don't play it. But I don't think you should eliminate it for everybody else.
Everything these days, they're worried about kids' feelings getting hurt, kids getting hurt. You know, how are they ever going to learn?
Panel, let me open it back up. And IronE, we have you. So sorry you had some hearing issues, technical issues. So I want to open this up to you. And I feel like based upon my Twitter responses on this, it's like people either loved it or they were scarred by it. How about you?
Well, to quote Priscilla Flynn, it's dodgeball. There's no crying in dodgeball. I think that is a bit extreme. Windham, we need dodgeball back. It's very extreme. I think that it stems from something a lot deeper than that. I think it comes from the people that are requesting to cancel dodgeball. It comes from something maybe deep-seated that they're dealing with. Maybe they experience bullying. But the way to combat that problem is to actually focusing on the bullies. We have to focus on what they're dealing with, what they're experiencing, as opposed to the activity.
So you say keep dodgeball, but just deal with the bullying issue separately.
Exactly. Okay. What if we have bullying at lunch? We're going to cancel lunch?
Who remembers, the cool kids table, and do you get to sit with the cool kids? I mean, the list could go on and on. Jackie Reed, what do you think? Is this ridiculous or not?
Well, the thing is, no, I actually think there's something to it. I could see doing away with dodgeball, and I loved it when I was a kid because I was good at it. I was small, I could move, I could dodge the ball, and I could throw, and I could catch. But for those, I also remember those kids that weren't good at it, and it was a nightmare for them. And here's the thing, we're in so many schools, we don't even have PE classes anymore because we don't have the manpower. If teachers cannot monitor what's going on in those games, and a lot of kids during recess, you have to play what the group activity is. You don't have a choice to play or not. And if you're a kid that's you can't throw that well, you can't catch that well, you can't dodge the ball, it's a nightmare for you. And why should those kids have to do that?
I could just hear some of the parents saying,
let the kids audition.
How else are our kids going to learn? This is what the superintendent says. Roll it.
In light of our anti-bullying campaign, are we consistent with what we're trying to say with regard to being respectful of one another and creating an environment where we're not opening up avenues for bullying activities?
John, what do you think? I mean, are we I just can hear the people saying, come on, we are just too sensitive.
Well, Brooke, typically that's what I'm saying. But listen, there are plenty of other physical activities and games that these kids can be playing without ones that are using each other as human targets.
They were using Nerf balls.
Brooke, I think those two moms were bullies in high school. That's why she thinks dodgeball is a blast. We have to be careful about creating an environment where kids can target one another. There are plenty of games that they can play. And even in the study that we read, that the fitness people said dodgeball isn't even great physical activity because half the time you're standing there waiting for the other people to get out of the game. So let's do other sports.
Whitney, you get the last word on dodgeball.
Okay, well, I have experience on both sides. I was a camp counselor for many years and was doing the game, but I was also an extremely awkward and unathletic teenager. So I can see both sides. I think it really comes down to the person in charge, the teacher, the gym teacher, the counselor, who's running the game. If you see a group of kids that are ganging up on a child or whatever, bullying, you need to put an end to it. When someone throws a ball that's too hard or too fast, you put that person out in a timeout and they can come in when they can can behave themselves, you know?
Maybe I just had fond dodgeball memories, but nevertheless.
You thought it was a blast, Brooke.
Yeah, I was that girl. No, I wasn't. That's thanks to our panel, Whitney Jefferson, Jackie Reed, IronE Singleton, John Murray. Thank you all very much. And now, just ahead, we've got some breaking news.